Yo, Chris Warren here. I got another video for you guys today. Let's check it out. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chris Warren. I'm a Los Angeles-based director of photography. So today's video, I wanted to do something a little more post-production related, which will be great for cinematographers, videographers, editors, and colorists. A few months back, the company Dehancer sent me an email to review their plugin, so let's check it out. So what is Dehancer? It's an OFX plugin that gives you film-like color grading and effects. So to test out Dehancer, I installed the plugin and loaded up DaVinci Resolve. So what I have here is a bunch of clips, random footage that I've shot numerous different projects, and I applied Dehancer to all of them and just kind of played around with the settings and just to see what I thought of it. Alright, so let's do something with this clip. So we'll drag on Dehancer to the node. You select your input, right? You can do Rec 709, you can do DaVinci Resolve Wide Gamut Intermediate. You can choose your own camera profile, which is really cool. You can do the ACES workflow, which is the industry standard. So let's stick with Rec 709 for this clip. One thing you may notice right off the bat is that there's already grain on the profile. For me, I like to see what the colors do before I add my grain. So I'll just roll down to grain here and I will turn it off. Head back up. I'm in my Rec 709. I can kind of choose my exposure here with my scopes. Let's see, we'll dial it in right about there. Now here I have all my different film stocks. Plenty to choose from. If I wanted something more Polaroid-esque, or let's see, what else we got? Something Kodak-based. I used to shoot Kodak Vision 3 250D in college. Under the Film Developer tab, which is really cool, this is where you can give yourself some contrast. Ooh, now we're talking. You can do some gamma correction. Color separation? Nah, I don't like that. I think maybe color boost, which is just your saturation. Make it a black and white stock. Alright, so now 200T. And what's cool is that these settings for the film developer, they stay when you change your film stocks. Each section of the program kind of acts like its own node. So let's head over to some Fuji. Let's see. Ooh, okay, so now let's head back up to our exposure up here. There we go. That looks nice. You know, if we toggle on our color on and off. Really nice. Black point. Let's see. Okay, kind of raising where black sits. There we go. I don't want my blacks crushed too much. So here with this room, which is really cool, is that they have a print stock option. So you have your capture stock and your print stock. So under here, we can do, okay, our flat film log. We can do the Fujifilm 3513 film profile, which looks nice for a print stock. They have some Kodak glossy paper. That looks pretty cool. But here's the best. They have the Kodak 2383 print film, which gives you the warm, creamy whites. You know, the cyan hue shifted blues to cyans. Ooh, all right. And then, you know, you can dial that in too, you know, if we want it a little more white. I kind of liked how it was in the beginning. Our exposures too. If we want to bring that down or bring it up just a little bit. Okay. Our tonal contrast. Ooh, all right. And color density. Now, let's turn on the grain. Alright, now this feels like it was shot on film. If we want to do like heavy grain, like 8 millimeter, look at that. Look at that. home movie camera, you know, change the aspect ratio and you got an 8mm film look. Ooh, we got 65mm film grain. This is what I think is really cool about this plugin, is that it's kind of set with your densities of 50 ISO, which, if you know nothing of film, think of it as your noise with modern day digital cameras. If you shoot 100 ISO or 200 ISO, you're typically getting something cleaner, right? Where if you go higher ISO, like 3200, 12,800 on other cameras, it gets really, really noisy. So think about that with grain, to where if you do a 65mm ISO 50, the grain, let's look at that. The grain is there, but it's really finite. Really, really finite. Now, if I wanted to go a little heavier with 500, and you could see right here in the waveform, it changes with grain. You can kind of see how fine the grain is. So there's the 50 and there's 500. If we go to 8mm 50, look at that. 35mm 50, that's pretty clean. Let's do 65mm 500. Looks nice. Looks really nice. You can add some halation. Not really doing anything in that shot. Some bloom. Okay. You can kind of see it a little bit on the shoreline. So here's with it off. And then if I turn it on, you kind of see the bloom along the shoreline here. It's really subtle. Let's see what else can we do. Oh, you can also export it as a LUT, which is really neat. If you make a specific film look profile and you want to export it out as a LUT and load it onto your camera, so you can be viewing a film look right there on set, I think that's really cool. Output, total impact. So you can also dial back the intensity of this too. So if you just want to maybe use the print stock 2383, you can load that up and then also dial back its intensity. So that's pretty cool. We may have to try that a little bit later. Monitor. Oh, you do have false color options and clipping indicators. Clearly my lake there was overexposed. Alright, so this next clip is some trees and some river when I went fishing last year. So for this, I chose a specific camera. I went with, which I shot this on my Pocket 6K camera. So I went in, I chose my specific camera. I made Pocket 6K. I was at 400 ISO, so that's what I chose. As you can see, I didn't do anything. I chose Kodak Vision 3 250D daylight stock. Didn't do anything with any of these black and white points. I did add the 2383 film print. Messed around with that a little bit with some tonal contrast and some of the exposure. I enabled the analog range limiter, which again, it had a smaller range compared to digital today, so it just kind of limits that bracket. I gave it 35mm film grain at ISO 50, so still pretty clean. And then what else did I do? No halation. I added some bloom. So what's cool is that your bloom and halation, you can choose your millimeter film stocks. So you can do halation at 65mm or you can do halation at 8mm, which is pretty insane. And then that's all I did. So let's check this out. Oh yeah, 6K playing, but I mean, that shot right there, you know, if we take this off, it's just a boring old, not boring, but it's just a plain old pocket shot. Now we add some life to it and kind of looks like it was shot on film, which is really cool. So here is just a shot that I applied a film stock to, took off the grain, and just am using the benefits of the color space and profile of a film stock. Here, DaVinci Wide Gamut Rec 709. I bumped the exposure a little bit, played around with some of the contrast, and I did Kodak Color 200 Plus. I mean, we can go Fuji, that changes the profile a little bit. Let's do something like Vivid, kind of makes it a little warmer. Now, I went with the Fuji print film, so not bad. I didn't change anything there. You don't have to just apply it to footage for a film look. You can still use it just for basically color grading and still get the benefits of film without having to add any grain or halation or bloom. So now this shot, this node tree, I was kind of playing around from some stuff that I learned on another YouTube channel, Kazi. Check him out if you don't know anything of color grading. He will teach you everything you need to know. So here I did a color space transform. I did that, and on the back end I did another transform to Rec 709, and then in the middle here I had my primaries, no color grade, and then I chose DaVinci Wide Gamut with intermediate as my input source. And so you can see here that there's a boom. So this shot had a 2:0 aspect ratio, which I just didn't apply yet. So that's why you can still see the boom and everything. But what I did in Dehancer here is I added Kodak Vision 3 500T stock, played around with the push-pull a little bit, adjusted the black point setting, added my 2383 print film profile because I love the look of that, which again makes the whites a little creamy and warm and just looks neat. Added some 65mm film grain, and let's see, I did some halation here. Oh yeah, so you can see the halation with the already fogged up room, but let's see, let's turn on and off the halation. It's very light. You can kind of see it. Where's the bloom? It's blooming a little bit. Let's go a lower bloom. Oh yeah, look at the bloom there in 8mm. Look at that. You know what? Let's change it to about 35. Just a little bloom. So it's like having a little diffusion filter. You can kind of see it on the top here. You can see the bloom here, and the blooming around this practical here. Oh yeah, yeah, really, really cool. So let's do 16mm. Shot. All right. Didn't do any film damage, film breath, or gate weave. Those things, personally, I wouldn't use normally unless it's very stylized. Everything else are tools that I have plenty of options and choices to dial in the look that I want. There's also a vignette option. I don't really vignette as well, again, unless it's like a stylized look I'm going for. But it's cool that the option is there, and it saves me from power windowing and resolve. I can just click a button and dial it in. Boom, easy. And like it's like its own node. I can just turn it on and off right there. So this shot was from a pilot I shot last year with a director friend of mine. We got Dehancer here. We'll drag it onto our node. First off, I like to always turn off the grain just to see what I'm working with. Here's the biggest con that I found with Dehancer. Choose camera, select Blackmagic. So I did shoot this on my Ursa Mini Pro 12K, which you guys know by now I own and I'm a fan of. Cameras selection. I have only two Blackmagic cameras to choose from, either the Pocket 4K or the Pocket 6K. Where's my Ursa Mini G2? Where's my Ursa Mini 12K? I mean, I guess the broadcast camera G2 is the 6K sensor, so maybe you can select that. And then what about the older Blackmagic cameras as well? I'm sure there's plenty of users out there and shooters that are still using the 2.5K or using the production camera 4K. So yeah, it's just kind of a bummer that they don't have Blackmagic profiles. One thing I also noticed is that under the Sony tab, they don't have the Sony Venice profile. They have the FX3, the FX30, and the FX6. I'm assuming the FX9 kind of has the same sensor as maybe the FX6, so there you go, you can use that. But what about the Sony Venice users? I mean, that's a $30,000 camera for the Venice 1, you know, and I don't know what the Venice 2 costs, but why don't we have that option? Which is interesting because if I go to ARRI, there's an Alexa 35 option. So what market are they playing to? So one last thing I'd like to look at real quick here is these are a few clips from a short film I shot last year. Again, using my Ursa Mini Pro 12K and using Atlas Orion Anamorphics. So here is the grade that I just did earlier in Dehancer. Dialed in the DaVinci Resolve wide gamut color space with Rec 709, again because they don't have the Ursa Mini profile, and tweaked some settings, tint, adjusted some contrast. I used Kodak Vision 3500T, did some push-pull, let's see, adjusted some black and white points, used the 2383 print film, tweaked some of the settings there, added a little blue into the shadows and a little red as well. So as you can see, this is what I shot. Now, I colored this film last year and it's in festivals now. I colored it using another film emulation program. I took a still from the film. So here's Dehancer, and here is the color grade of the film. Pretty similar. Now I will say, when I did color the film, I did use the other film plugin, and I also used the DaVinci Resolve color tools to tweak the look. So it wasn't solely just the program. However, in this, it solely is just Dehancer. I think it was pretty close that I was able to get it, and I mean, I would do a little more tweaking using Resolve's color tools because they're there, but to give me that film look instantly is really easy and really cool. Just, it's amazing how quickly I was able to kind of match. What I really like is that it saves time because it's all in one place. I don't have to go looking around through the other options, finding bloom, halation, whatever. It's all right here. It's my own node tree already made for film looks. I think it's pretty great. They do offer a free trial, so check it out. You can download it for yourself, play around. They make the plugin for Resolve, Premiere, Photoshop, After Effects, Final Cut, and they also do make it for your iPhone, for iOS. So just a quick note with the iOS app. I loaded it up on my phone, and what I think is really cool is I was able to dial in some looks with some scout photos right then and there, kind of predetermining my look on set, and then when I get back I can kind of apply that and build a LUT off of that in the program itself, and then export that out, put that into my camera, and boom, there we go. Easy workflow. So if you're interested in trying Dehancer, they do have a free trial. If you're interested in getting a license, they have a 3-month, a 6-month, a 1-year, and a lifetime option. So another cool thing is that Dehancer also offers Dehancer Lite, which just means less options at a reduced price, but still some of the core features. They also offer specific tool licenses, such as grain, halation, bloom, and film breadth. So if you just need one of those things, you can just get that license for the same amount of time, either 3-month, 6-month, 1 year, or lifetime, which is neat. So if you just find yourself wanting to add grain to, your films, or if you just like the bloom effect or the halation effect, you could just get that license and have that plugin. So if you guys are interested in getting Dehancer, use the promo code CWDP10 to get 10% off. However, that promo code only works for the desktop plugin. It does not work for the iOS app. Alright guys, that about does it. Hit me up on Instagram at CWDP112. You can check out my work at chriswarrendp.com. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or want to know more about Dehancer. Like I said, you can also go to the website right now and get a free trial if you're interested in kind of playing around and seeing how it works with your footage. Thank you for hanging in there. Till next time, peace.